in the days and weeks before his death, Charlie Kirk was facing not just increasing Zionist pressure as the date approached of his first appearance on his campus-wide cross-country tour, but that actually he was bleeding Zionist donations. And I got the name of a major donor who apparently pulled out. I haven't dropped a piece yet, so I don't want to sell it out, but I just got him on the phone and he hung up on me when I asked him about it. So it seems like there's a there, and that they were pretty upset at Charlie Kirk because there's no space for allowing comic Dave Smith on stage for debate. There's no space for debate on this issue. It doesn't matter what the purpose of the debate is. There's no, it's like how they say there should be no daylight between the United States and Israel. Charlie Kirk was allowing daylight.
Right.
Everything I reported is backed up by public statements by Charlie Kirk and now by someone who had positioned himself as his personal Israeli handler. It's a guy named Rabbi Pesach Wolicki. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's from a group called Israel 365 Action, which is apparently funded by the Phallic family of duty-free America.
Excuse me, the Phallic family? Jesus. Anyway, that's a total aside. Let me just state this section here, Max Blumenthal on Dave Smith's podcast, getting into not really the conspiracy, but it is kind of conspiratorial, but this idea that Israel had something to do with Charlie Kirk's assassination. Again, totally speculative, potentially conspiratorial, but this whole thing has been incredibly strange. The news that we've been getting, or the reporting out of the FBI, or the presenting of evidence from the Kash Patels and the Dan Bonginos, and the speculation, and just the story not adding up. There is a lot going on in the midst of going into just the reality of Charlie Kirk's situation, who he was, his political transformation, or what have you at the time, that and what Max Blumenthal is going to lay out here is how Charlie Kirk was evolving politically at the time vis-a-vis Israel, and the forces of power that were sort of morphing and melding behind him in those moments in weeks and months before his death. So I'm going to let the rest of this clip play out. I might have a word or two to add here, but just wanted to give context that this is what the discussion that is happening around this particular issue. And Max Blumenthal is going to lay it out for us here.
Who sponsored the illegal settlement enterprise in the West Bank, real hardliners. He's also close to Regent University, which is funded by Pat Robertson. He's one of these rabbis that, like, his job is to groom Christians in the United States to support Israel and to support them as much as possible. I got some documents that his group had been sending to conservative influencers, offering them like free tours of Israel, biblical sites, going to Gaza, the Gaza border, etc. And he actually has given a series of interviews where he said that he was talking to Charlie Kirk almost every day leading up to his tour and giving him talking points, and that they were kind of having there was a running argument, and that Charlie Kirk, he said, was believing a lot of things he heard in the media, and that there were people close to him who were pushing him to be more anti-Israel, and that they spoke like almost like the day before his Utah Valley University fateful speech where he was horrifically killed. There were also all these Zoom meetings leading up to Charlie Kirk's final days that I learned about, including with Joshua Hammer, this really charismatic figure that you debated. I don't know how you stood up to that. Just blizzard of facts. But he's one of Netanyahu's young voices in the media.
We covered that debate. You can check that out on my channel or on Charlie Kirk's channel. But Dave Smith just completely dismantled the Josh Hammer. Is that what his name? He just said it. I already forget. But yeah, that guy's an absolute disaster if you want to go check that out.
Newsweek editor Sean McGuire, who's emerging as sort of like this junior Bill Ackman figure, who's a venture capitalist, very close to Elon, owns a house in Israel. He was on the Zoom call. He actually deleted a tweet where he mentioned the Zoom call, which is interesting. So Charlie Kirk was just under constant pressure. And just imagine having like this cabal of representing a sort of niche movement that is giving you enormous amounts of money and offering you more in order to say what they want, just constantly calling you. Rabbi Wolicki said they were planning to set up a WhatsApp group to feed Charlie talking points throughout his tour. And they said they were very worried because people were asking him about Gaza and the genocide, and they didn't want him to go off script. But just imagine having those people in your ear all the time, just constantly managing you. And that's what this Hamptons influencer retreat was as well, that I had exposed. I broke that story. I mean, there were a lot of people there were rumors going around about it. And Bill Ackman, who's one of the biggest pro-Netanyahu money men in the country, this investor who's worth $9 billion, sort of convened the meeting in coordination with Charlie Kirk. And what Ackman's agenda was there, and I think there was a larger agenda with deeper forces that were sort of embedding themselves into TPUSA as entities like the Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire failed. What they wanted to do is basically buy impressions for Israel. So they were cultivating all of these young influencers to go to Israel, to say whatever Israel wanted. I mean, just go to the Instagram page right now of Xavier DeRousseau of PragerU, which is like an Israeli, I consider it basically an Israeli cutout. Like Marissa Straight, who runs that, is a veteran of Israel's cyber spying division, Unit 8200. And she's supposed to be like creating the next generation of America first. But go to this guy's Instagram page, like every subject. This is a young black man from Louisiana. Every subject is like Zionism, Israel. It's obvious what he's doing. He's like a paid actor. He's a talented paid actor. He's a paid actor for these Zionist billionaires. And so they were trying to groom more and like bring in like attractive women, anything that will keep the looming collapse of Israel standing within the conservative.
And guys, we've seen it. We've seen the people that come on, and not all of them are like these really good looking, people or whatever, but it always seems like it's the same like hot blonde or hot brunette or like good looking young guy or whatever that are regurgitating. It sounds like it's the same script over and over again, the same line that's just canned and over again. And it's very easy to debunk. I mean, you've seen Dave Smith just, dismantle these talking points one after another, but we've seen it, broadcasted or presented to us in real time in these debates. Exactly what Max Blumenthal is talking about. It's pretty fascinating.
Movement from finally taking place. And where Charlie Kirk was not where we are. He was sort of, I mean, I look at him and I've been following him for 10 years. He's like a natural born political operative. And all he thinks about is politics and votes and getting out the vote in districts and networking, doing media. He's very good at it. I don't agree with anything he said, but he's good at that. And all of a sudden there's this grassroots revolt among young conservatives on Israel, and he faces the Groyper wars, and nobody's like, very few of them support it except for the Jewish conservatives, who are like only 7 or 8% of American Jews even vote Republican. So they're in the minority, but they have more money than, they command billions of dollars. So he has to answer to them and the conservative grassroots at the same time. And he's stuck in the middle in an impossible position, and he couldn't bridge the divide. And, he's constantly on camera too. And sometimes he would just go off script and start saying the things he would hear from his friends and the things he was feeling. And he may have actually been disgusted by what he was seeing in Gaza. He certainly was opposed to the Iran war. And, my reporting that he was actually going up in the White House and lobbying Trump and others against attacking Iran, which it was like totally forbidden, has been corroborated by J.D. Vance himself. What really seemed to upset Charlie Kirk wasn't, though, like maybe the same things that upset us about this issue. It was that this coterie or cabal of billionaires who really seem only concerned with the fate of a foreign country was telling him what to do in his own country when he was supposed to be the face and voice of America first. And that was driving him crazy in his final days. So look at the reaction right now. I mean, look at the reaction. Candace Owens went live like a half hour after I dropped my piece and provided additional details and gave, a really stirring narrative about the influencer summit based on what she knew. And she is the target of like a tsunami of attacks, all from those very same forces. They're trying to totally destroy her. They're trying to like wipe her off the map the same way they're wiping Gaza off the map. They're overreacting because they can see the writing on the wall. Candace Owens, look at her engagement. I mean, hundreds of thousands of views when she goes live, then millions and millions more. Everyone's the conservative youth, but the whole, like, young people across the country are hanging on her every word. Nobody cares what Ben Shapiro has to say.
Yep.
It's all fake.
I am not a conspiracy guy. Those of you who know me know I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I am not really a big fan of conspiracies, to the extent that if we don't have proof explicitly for whatever it is that the conspiracy or theory is, I'm hesitant for. I like to see the facts, and I like to get the real meat and bones and potatoes, and to understand really what's going on. But when we've already had so much, so many lies, so many cover-ups, from the Epstein files to, the conflicts we've gotten involved in the Middle East, and our relationship with Israel, and, how deep Mossad goes, and the CIA and all this stuff. Like, they have made us to be paranoid, and they've made us to start asking these questions. Again, I don't know, and we don't know what happened, or who was behind really, what happened with Charlie Kirk. All that's going to hopefully come out in the future, but are a lot of people going to be able to believe, the results of a trial or an investigation if it's done by this government, with this FBI, with this CIA, with all these things that are going on? I would like to be able to trust. It's crazy. Like, we've literally grown up in a society where we can't trust our government. I mean, it is like we are living in a sort of pseudo neo 1984 style situation. So again, I don't really know what to think right now. The questions are there. They have to be asked. They have to be investigated, unfortunately. So that is the situation. Let me know what you guys think about all that in the comments. Drop a like. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.